soon as that window got closed. Wow.
We can open one, yeah, open one that's
Might
farther
have
in the
to have
back
one
maybe.
open.
That way we don't have cold air blowing directly on people, but it'll create a little bit of a draft.
Yeah. A little bit was probably a good idea.
That's fine,
Okay,
yeah.
is it 6 o'clock? It is 6 o'clock. Ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for Cuyahoga Heights Schools on February 2nd, 2026. It is 6 p.m. in the Boundary Media Center. Will the treasurer please call the roll?
Mrs. Decker.
Here.
Ms. Pajeska. Here. Mr. Rossi. Here. Mr. Souchaki.
Here, 4 present, none absent. Please rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I skipped over the welcome, but that's because there's nobody here, so. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
So moved?
Moved by Ms. Decker. Second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Ms. Pajeska. Mr. Rossi. Mr. Souchaki.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Nobody's here, so no comments from the public. Presentations, we'll move into section 4, presentation on the NeoNet server migration. Turning it over to Matt Hartman.
Well, board members, I'm going to present to you a quick overview of a project we've been working on for migrating our physical on-premises servers to NeoNet. They will be hosting all our a predominant amount of our equipment. So the main target is going to be migrating all non-facility servers to NeoNet hosting. 12 servers will actually be retired out of our fleet, and facility servers will still be hosted on-premises in the server over there. Some examples would be related to our maintenance, all of our building level automations for HVAC, and as well as like cameras hosting here. It's hard to send 80 HD video feeds to NeoNet back and forth. So that'll be hosted here on the school as well. Cost for migration. The cost for migration will increase our NeoNet bill by $6,840 yearly. The cost to actually update our servers. Currently, 2 of our 3 physical servers are out of warranty. They're aging. They're approaching end of life. The cost to buy new servers is about $20,000 per physical machine, along with the licensing costs and other items as well as associated with that. So it would be about $40,000 to just replace 2 of the aging servers that we have.
Sorry, what is the lifespan of a server? I'm not even sure what.
Technology is always speeding up, there's always something new, but typically you get about 5 to 7, maybe even 8 years. Ours
Okay.
are pushing a little bit closer to the end of life, like 8 years.
Okay, thank you.
So some just hidden costs to think about when migrating. Our physical costs, like they also include air conditioning, which we have experienced issues with inside that room.
yes, we
So
certainly.
mitigate that cost. Electricity draw, we would still have all of our networking going through that room, so there still would be a considerable amount of electricity, but not as much without 12 server to be hosting. Hardware and warranty, like I said, we are currently actually experiencing this issue. We had a hard drive failure on one of our servers, but everything is rated together, so really it's kind of just like pulling out apart, but everything still works. We bought replacement hard drives, but they are also approaching end of life, and everyone's looking to the next part. And in general, most schools are now switching away from hosting on-premises servers to migrating to NeoNet. This would help reduce, like I said, 12 servers, basically migrating into one big server at NeoNet, just due to how much technology has advanced. Here's some more hidden costs to consider. Downtime, when the servers go out, it typically affects everything. It can range from not being able to print, cameras no longer working to provide security, and our door system maybe even not working. So all of this would be on higher-end equipment and hosted and maintained by NeoNet. Backup solutions, we currently back up our servers nightly at NeoNet, so that would still maintain what's going on. That cost is currently around $9,000 to back up our servers. With the reduction in the amount of servers, we will see a reduction in that cost. I just don't have that number right now, but we will see a considerable drop in our backup costs as well. Here's a brief timeline going over what is going to happen. So throughout this whole school year, we will still be maintaining our servers on premises. Once will start decommissioning our old servers while Neonet picks up what is there. Everything will be done over the network. Users will not experience really any difference, even the staff here, while the summer's going on. We will have to update every PC as our domain will no longer be hosted here. It will be at Neonet. The biggest change that staff will experience is they will log in with their email instead of their first name dot last name. So that's same password, still same everything. We will have to update every single PC in the district. Thankfully, we just updated every computer to Windows 11 to maintain cybersecurity standards. So now we are pretty much most backed up we've ever been. It'll be an incredibly easy transition now that every computer's been updated. August, we'll update the remaining staff. We actually have to touch the computers, so staff take their computers home to use them for work over the summer or something else. And when they bring them back, we'll just have to touch them real quick. Shouldn't be that big of an inconvenience for the staff. Their computers will still work over the summer. It's just when they come in, it'll say error, need login. They'll come see us, and within 2 minutes, they'll be up and running. And then before the students return, we will make sure that every computer is up and running, like I said, and the students will not actually experience any of this because they are all on Chromebooks. Any questions?
Why did it take so long to get here? Because it certainly seems like the direction we ought to be going.
Yeah, there are some benefits to hosting your own equipment too. We'll still, like I said, be maintaining some of the servers on our most recent server. That server is expected probably another 4 years of life. That is for the security server and the maintenance server.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things that we really need access to, we'll still have hosted here. It's important that we get any protections from Neonet that we can. Because when a server goes down, it puts a tremendous amount of stress on our crew here. And they've done a great job over the years, but it gets expensive, it gets immediate, it gets, a lot of resources are pulled away, human resources, so.
This is one of the first things really last year after Mr. Ward left, and we brought in Don
Rocky.
Rocky from Neonet, and came back and they sat down and they reviewed our systems. That was one of the key things that they really wanted to start to address. And, we took a long time process to make sure that we moved right away, what the process seemed to be, and also implemented a lot of cybersecurity protocols in place throughout the process.
I will still have access to the servers even though they are hosted at Neonet, so it's not as though we're losing any functionality either on our end as well.
Physical and remote access? You said you still get,
Yeah, I'll still have access. I'll still be able to remote into our servers.
That's what I
create
thought.
accounts, anything that needs to get done still. But
That's-
Neonet will be managing updates and hardware.
that's, okay. That was my assumption. I just wanted to clarify.
They're actually condensing all of the servers into one,
Mhm.
so that's how much technology has improved.
Didn't we hear about this meeting with Godot?
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions for Matt?
It was one of our, yeah, it was one of our goals.
Thank you all
Sounds
for
good.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks.
Both for the presentation and for the task. All right, Mr. Muccio, moving into treasurer's business.
Okay, just a few items tonight. I ask for items 5A, 6A through 6D for approval.
Okay, entertain a motion for those items, please. Ms. Majeska, is going to have a second. Second by Mr. Rossi. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, treasurer, please call the roll. No,
I'll just
no.
point out a couple things on it. So new vendors, we just have 3. I'll just open this. First one is Affordable Entertainment. That's for the prom photo booth. That's $650 coming from their senior class account. Second new vendor is Plaques and Such. That's for varsity letters for athletics. $1,000 estimated cost out of the athletic fund. Number 3 is Rob Holla. He's the speaker on vaping that we have, $2,500 from general fund. Second item, purchase orders over $5,000, just one. And this is for our lighting and sound for the auditorium. Matt or George or Matt, do you guys want to talk about that at all?
We'll be updating the lighting and the sound for the auditorium. That will include replacing all of the incandescent lights with LED lights, enabling us to control the light colors and all of the fun as well for the stage plays. It will also reduce our energy cost. Currently, we waste about 90% of our energy in heat as opposed to making light. Now we'll be using 90% of our energy to create light and only 10% heat. Maybe it'll be a lot cooler under there for the play, so the kids can wear a lot more fun costumes.
No, it's this one, special cost centers. And that's 39,304 from our permanent improvement fund. Exit out of here, exit out of here. Third item would be, this is great news. So we received a new grant from the Ohio School Bus Safety account with the state. We did ask for $17,000. The state gave us $5,415. And we can see all of the awardees over here. So it was $10 million allocated amongst all these schools. We are located right there, Darmount. And we plan to use this for the purchase of radios for our buses.
So our buses are one of two Northeast Ohio school districts that still have analog communication in the buses, so it's very digital. We've got better coverage and more clarity. A lot of our systems is pretty outdated and old. We have base stations that don't work, so we're relying on special radios for communication in our high school principal office, since the base station doesn't work anymore. We have another one we could hook back up in Mr. Young's office that we had previously, so will help with communication, safety. The overall cost is probably going to be around $13,000. When we put the application in, there's only certain allowable expenses for the grant, so that's where we got the $17,000 total. $5,000 is as much as we wanted to hope to get, but one of the reasons why we didn't get as much is because we have some of our buses are older, but they're in great shape. They're still run, they're maintained well, they're in heated garages, so we got a little punished because we take such good care of our equipment, so we're going to look forward to moving forward with our upgrades here consistently.
And the last item is going to be to modify our appropriations to be able to spend the $5,000 grant to fund 499. And that's all I have.
Any questions for the treasurer?
When you say modify, what is that?
Yeah. Let's take a look at this attachment that we have right down here. So we set up our temporary appropriations right here. So that means these are all of our funds, and we say we're going to spend $21,003,228 from the general fund, and we say we're going to spend $900,000 from the permanent improvement fund 003. We say we're going to spend $500,000 from food service and so forth. For the miscellaneous state grants, that would be this account that falls in. We initially set it up with that. Then we modify it every step of the way. So what we think is going to happen during the year, we bumped up our appropriations here in the permanent improvement fund. We bumped it up here in other grants, and we did this back in September of 25. Second modification was here in January 7th, and we did our third one here now. So every step of the way where we modify our appropriations, we change it here as we go. I do keep track of that. So whenever we close the month, I'll pull it up here, attach the budget versus actual. So this is usually letter C, and all the appropriations would be in these columns here that you see. And we have tick marks, so letter A is going to show down here, and it explains why we increased it 600,000. And we did that back in September due to the fire alarm and security project that we had in place. And 800,000 here for the roofing project that we have, so. Yep. But typically schools do between 5 to 10, give or take, half dozen to a dozen.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Pajeska?
Aye.
Mr. Rossi? Aye. Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mr. Stchak?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Any discussion, further discussion, comments?
Yep, just two. So going back to our forecast deadlines, we're looking to have it done by February 28th. So modifying our plan because we're pushing it off from tonight, we're going to review the forecast during our special meeting to be called February 10th, which is next week, Tuesday. And then we're going to approve the forecast during our February 17th board meeting. So about a week later. And the second item is upcoming special meetings. So we have two. The first special meeting is going to be Thursday of this week, February 5th at 5 p.m. And the purpose is to interview potential Board of Education members and to approve a roofing agreement. Matt, did you want to talk at all on the roofing agreement that we have coming up Tuesday with Tremco?
Yeah, so they have sent us a contract over. We've sent that to our legal counsel, Ennis Britton, who gave us a couple modifications. Matt just emailed that to Tremco today. I don't think it's going to be anything that's a game changer. Just a couple of the requests, like one of them isn't permitted by a treasurer, the indemnification, I believe, process. So, but it looks like it's going to be pretty standard, except for $720,000 that we're going to be spending on it. But keep in mind, that's something that has been talked about, it's been planned. And this summer is an important one because the roofs that we're going to be working with are most in need. They're the ones that have the most water damage, so to speak, if you will. I mean, not damage, like things are falling into the ceiling. But the moisture levels are getting to the point where they need to be replaced. So that's why we've identified them. So, but it's part of our 4-year plan.
And the next special meeting is going to be Tuesday, February 10th at 6 o'clock p.m. For the purpose to interview the final 2 candidates or whomever the board chooses, so final 3, final 2, and possibly appoint a new Board of Education member. You don't have to, but you could. So what I'll do is I'll throw it into the purpose, because if we don't put it into the purpose, we can't do it. So that leaves the flexibility. So if you guys want to, you can. If not, you can push it off to the next meeting. And then we'd review the forecast as well that night. And I'll send out the notices soon. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Any questions for the treasurer or for the?
Yeah.
The Board of Events on the 10th, are we doing the forecast first?
Yeah, I think that works better, don't it? Yeah. Or you guys can review the final 2 and we can do it after, whichever one you guys want to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot will be determined by what happens on Thursday.
Thursday,
You may
yes.
determine on Thursday that you need to bring some people back for a second round. You may make an informal decision that night. So a lot of that will be guided based on what the consensus is coming out of that meeting, I think, on
Right.
Thursday, because he's not going to send that notice out until,
Well,
send-
not for Thursday, Tuesday, yeah.
for Tuesday, you're sending it out probably Friday.
Yep.
So we would have time.
Sufficient, yes. Okay,
Cool.
all right.
It doesn't matter.
So I need to change my calendar.
If you have a decision and you decide to appoint, you could appoint and then they could sit through the forecast.
That's
Or
right.
if you have a couple candidates, you could put them both through the forecast and then do your interviewing afterwards. So there's just some flexibility, I think, with all that.
It's an important forecast, though.
It's a very important forecast, and it's going to take a little bit of time because as
There's a lot going on.
he and I spent a lot of time discussing today, even to some of the reform bills that didn't look like they had a direct effect, they have indirect effects, and there's not a lot of clarity and guidance yet, as we found out with most of the laws, there are things that, interpretations that occur afterwards that were not in the direction that we thought. And I can talk about that a little bit when we get to my section, as long as
Okay.
we're staying on task.
Okay. Think we're done with treasurers then?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the superintendent's business.
All right, on the consent agenda for consideration, I have items 9A and B, 10A through F.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for those items.
So moved.
Ms. Zecca, do I have a second? Okay, Ms. Jessica, okay, discussion.
All right, so the first item, these are our supplemental contracts related to spring sports. So you will see boys and girls track and field at the middle school and high school level. You'll see baseball, head coach, JV coaches, softball, head coach and assistant coaches, again, varsity JV. You do have an elementary science club sponsor, and you have your spring faculty managers. Boys and girls are listed there. Second item, letter B, under number 9, this is hiring based on our positions on our miscellaneous pay rate schedule for 25-26. We have additional ticket takers, people who will potentially help us either through postseason tournaments in the winter or through the spring if we have charged events. And these people had not been approved prior, so it gives us more flexibility in staffing. Under number 10, agreements, contracts, and memberships, we have the agreement with the photo booth prom for 2026. All right, Mr. Muccio had that approved as a new vendor. Total cost looks like it's $649 with a $50 booking fee. Letter B and C, we have 2 memorandums of understanding for College Credit Plus. We've already approved 2 of those this year. We've got 2 more. This is with the University of Akron and Cuyahoga Community College for the 2026-27 school years, which include typically the summer after the school year is over, so the summer of 26 and then the fall and spring terms. Letter D, all right, this is to approve an amendment number 1 to our service agreement with NeoNet. What we are doing here is we are extending our agreement, which has been a 5-year agreement. The timing of this is a little early, but that's related to E-rate purchasing that we're going to be doing. Matt, do you have a couple of things to add about that?
Yeah, E-rate is a federal incentive that discounts networking equipment for schools and libraries. Typically, we receive around 50% back in whatever we purchase. This year, our intent is to buy battery backups for all of the closets in the district, ensuring that in the event of a power outage, we at least stay up for a half an hour. Most power outages average about 10 minutes, so we'll be up for the whole time. We will not lose internet connectivity or lose any of our security cameras as well.
So we have to have an active agreement through the life of that E-rate cycle in place, so this bridges that gap. What's the cost approximately of the backup batteries?
It'll be $30,000, but again, 50%, so it'll be about $15,000 instead.
15,000. It gives us a little bit of time. It's good that Matthew lives close. He can monitor these systems. He usually knows when the power goes out in Cuyahoga Heights. I say this, half in jest, but we did look into generators. What would it cost to have generators just specifically to back up some of our servers and our equipment? And it was everything from $50,000 for a small one to $500,000 for a generator. So we're going to go with the backup batteries. It's covered by E-rate, and it'll cost us $15,000, and we get $15,000 from the government. So it's a little bit more cost effective. Next is our membership into the Ohio High School Athletic Association. This is for middle school, which is grades 7 and 8, as well as high school, grades 9 through 12 for the 2026-27 school year. Membership is required if you want to participate in any postseason tournament. It's $50 per sport at the high school for your membership. There are no membership dues for your middle school programming. So this is an annual approval that we do. We've been very fortunate to have teams that are successful in postseason. We've held a number of home events here. We've hosted the district track meet, and this year we're going to be hosting the regional track meet as well, which will be tremendous that our students, those that make it to the regional, will be able to compete for a chance to go to the state championship at our home track. So that's something that we haven't done since, I believe, 2000 was the last time that occurred.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sure. Yeah, so we're going to be communicating out starting this week. So we're early. We're in February communicating to May. So in the past, it's been a Wednesday, Friday meet for the district, and we've had to release much earlier in the day. This year it shifts to Thursday and to Saturday, and they've shifted some of the rules, so we're not going to have to get out as early. What we'll have to do is we'll have to dismiss 1 hour early each week, rather than 3 hours early, as we've done in the past. So you would dismiss at the middle school, high school at 1:35, at the elementary school at 2:35 on consecutive Thursdays. So it's 1 hour of time that we're gonna communicate that this week. Same for regionals. Yeah, you have, in the regionals, you're actually going to have, you're going to have fewer athletes, but you're going to have more schools participating, so you have more school vans and more school buses coming in, because we're going to be drawing from almost to Toledo, all the way down to the Canton area, all the way up to here. So it's a pretty big area. The state shifted to 5 divisions this year, which put a stress on facilities. There's only so many quality facilities that can, and this has equipment and human beings who are capable of running such an event. We were selected as one of those for the regional meet. But yeah, there will be early dismissal this year. It will be 2 consecutive Thursdays, but it will only be 1 hour early as opposed to the 3 hour earlier dismissal we've done in the past. So hopefully that's not as big of a burden on families. The last item, this is to approve the assembly by Rob Holla LLC to provide a vaping awareness assembly, age appropriate, is targeted for middle school students and high school students, as well as parents on youth vaping. The cost is $2,500. The last time we did something related to safety in general was internet awareness. We did it with our 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade 3 school years ago. We partnered with Independence, and we had a parent education night as well. So this is the next presentation we've been able to bring about. I think when I was principal here, we did some type of an assembly every year that had to do with good decisions, student safety. Some things were around texting and driving. One was around internet safety. One was on, I think, drug awareness. I know Mr. Coleman had done something when he replaced me, the Drug-Free Club of America. When he left, COVID was happening. That program didn't continue. And it's time to start, again, we did the internet safety 3 years ago, and now we're going to do the vaping. Do you want to talk about what the assembly is going to be and what went into it?
You're looking into trying to find something unique for students, and we did some legwork on things we need to go over that. This fits a need that we have. We haven't addressed vaping directly. For the school assembly, we've done vape education as like more of a punitive approach. Like if students who get vape issues with, they would part of their return to school protocol. Really want to do some education more so and make sure that kids are more aware of what dangers that they may be facing, as well as informing parents on some issues that they should know from their seats as well. So, if we do have issues, it's something we can come back to. It's something that's important to us. We want you to be aware of the dangers. And I know we do a good job in health class doing this, and I think a lot of the things that Mr. Kovich builds into his curriculum there, but I don't want every kid to wait 10th grade to get that message. So if we can start a little earlier, it's obviously
And the parent education piece is good too. I think that was the other part is that then you offer something for families in the evening. I know the last presentation we did was really impactful, but between 2 school districts and 4 grade levels, we had under 50 adults show up to the presentation. Yeah, most were staff members. We were completely stunned by the results of that particular presentation.
With the parent presentation, it doesn't have to be strictly just high school and middle school students. Some PTO has helped it out, the message out. I requested some literature to be shared out for families with that as we've gotten the time. We're trying to get 6 o'clock on the 18th, but if that shifts by half an hour in the direction,
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah, the first time we discussed this was in 2017 and 18, so it only took us 8 years George, to get this presentation. So that's how long the history of this goes back. Do you have any other questions? Or any questions?
Okay. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Ms. Pajeska? Mr. Rossi? Mr. Souchaki?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Section 12, superintendent comments.
Okay, we're doing a great job of staying on task here. Are a few things. Let's talk about some events we have coming up. I know tonight we have our National Honor Society and National Junior Honor Society inductions. That's going to recognize students who not only have the academic profile, but also wonderful character traits, service and responsibility and stewardship and things like that. So it's great that we are going to have that dual induction tonight. That'll happen at 7 o'clock. We do have PTO book fairs. All right, started, I think setup happened last week over here in the middle school. It's been set up down in the lobby so we can hit some of our big events. And I think we move to the elementary school next week. Talked about the special board meeting. We have middle school conferences and high school conferences next week. As we approach the midterm here, we want to make sure that we are staying on target with our grades because, you know, it goes pretty quickly here in the wintertime, especially with snow days and some holidays and things like that. On the 12th, we have our CHES Gala. It's formerly our art and game night. We're expanding it a lot more. And GALA actually stands for something. Mr. Melvin told me about that. I know one's like literature, and one is art, games, art, literacy, and achievement. There you go, and achievement. There's even a costume contest to dress up like your favorite book character. So it should be a great family event on the same night as our conferences. We have Staff Professional Development Day on the 13th. We're going to be looking at, we have somebody coming in from Ennisbritton to talk about special education law and updates and case law and how it's impacted the K through 12 classroom, as well as having Mrs. Meffy, our school social worker, talking about trauma-informed care for students, and then an optional session for adults. We have a Tri-C movie shoot coming up that's going to be the weekend of Valentine's Day. I will be here helping facilitate that event. President's Day, of course. Our presentation is after that on the 20th. CHS got.
Baking's on the 18th.
Let's go 18. That's my fault. Thank you.
And then the 20th is the middle school game day.
Wait a minute. That's not on there. Middle school. All right. This is my admin team meeting agenda today. So middle school game day social. All right. Is what day again? 2/20. CHS Got Talents on the 21st. We have a concert on the 24th. The Best Committee is on Wednesday, the 25th. Go Fish is on the 27th, and tuition applications also close on the 27th. So to be such a short month, it's got a lot going on. So as far as policies go, we have, I believe, 15 policies we're going to be looking at in the month of March. You'll do a first reading at the first session, second reading at the second session. If any policies require a third reading and before approval, we can do that. A lot of policies have financial implications. There's one on name, image, likeness, NIL, for high school. There's the AI policy, which is required to be in place. There's changes to release time for religious instruction. We remember batting that about last spring a little bit. So I will be sending out preview materials as we get closer to that meeting. So we've got those policies coming up. As far as the political update, I did send that, try to give you a high-end summary of things that have been coming down. One of the things that we talked about today was this potential movement that's going to prohibit us from joining organizations that lobby on behalf of public education. BASA, OSBA, OASBO, the Alliance of High Quality Education, that education and advocacy lawsuit that we're part of. You would not be able to use public funds in order to join those organizations and advocate against those people trying to change laws in public education. Just like superintendents and treasurers can no longer campaign for levies. We're no longer allowed to do anything of such, as we found out a couple years ago. So this is just another way that they are trying to cut off the people who are trying to advocate the most for public education. I mean, we already see that, we spent a lot of time, superintendents and treasurers, driving to Columbus last spring, advocating for public ed, as we did for the cash carryover cap. And what did they come back with? House Bill 473, they want to go after our pension system and not allow us to receive benefits that we have received forever in Ohio. Why? Because we were the groups that went down and advocated for our schools. So it's a little frustrating, and we're going to continue to monitor. I'll continue to provide you with updates. Finally, it was Groundhog Day. He saw his shadow. 6 more weeks of winter. Is anybody surprised?
Good.
And my mom texted me first thing this morning, he saw it. I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom. You live in southern Ohio. I live in northern Ohio. That means 2 different things. But in all seriousness, I really want to thank our maintenance team for the work they did clearing the snow last week and getting us ready to open back up. I had 2 workers come in on Sunday, and they worked over 12 hours clearing 10 inches of snow that was already on our parking lots. I mean, it took them, it's hard to move snow that heavy. It's hard to find places to put snow. And they spent a 12-hour day on a Sunday while, you're at home. They finished at 2 in the morning, only to have it snow some more, and they had to come back in a couple of days later and remove the snow. They plowed the sidewalks. The villages did an excellent job, but our maintenance crew here, I feel like they went above and beyond, and I really appreciate what they did. That Wednesday we opened, they were in here at 4 a.m. clearing the lots and getting everything ready. And even to the point where I had, Mr. Zerbola, Mr. Clements, and Mr. Hahn drove school vans around, and I rode with Mr. Zerbola. We rode around the village of Cuyahoga Heights to pick up anybody who had to walk to school from this village. Because it's easy to say, yeah, we'll only have a couple dozen walkers. Well, they matter too. And so we wanted to make sure that if their parents weren't driving them, that they had a vehicle to jump in. And we drove them up here to school. So we did that for all 3 days last week, just trying to go the extra step and the extra half mile to school for
Received a text from a parent,
our kids.
very thankful that happened one morning.
And I think that's, not that we say that we're a special place. We want to be a special place for our families. We're not perfect. I always say we're perfectly imperfect. And, we're not always going to make the right decisions for everybody. We're always trying to make the best decisions for kids. And that was just another way that, those guys had plowed since 4 in the morning. They were freezing cold. And I said, hey, can you jump in a warm van and go pick up some kids in the village? And they're like, sure. All right. And I think that's the people has always made this place special, and that's something that we need to continue to focus on. And I really do appreciate their efforts last week, getting us ready and getting us open. So that's all I have.
That snow pile is very impressive in front of the garage in the back.
I came in on the Tuesday, and I saw somebody in the vehicle, and they had a bunch of snow on the blade, and they are screaming across the parking lot, and they go all the way up. I'm like, what in the world are we trying to jump the building over there? It was Mr. Zerbola. He didn't see me back there. He backed up, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I have to get a running start to push that snow as high as I can. I was like, you're about to go airborne, bud, so you better be careful, because it's impressive. I mean, it was like over 10 feet tall, wasn't it? So, yeah, we were at the point where, and we had talked, because it's not going to warm up until next week, if we needed to bring in equipment to help us move snow, but I don't know if there's any equipment to even rent, because I think everybody else has done that.
Mr. Zabola's going to reach out to the village to see if there's something available.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
Thanks to everybody for doing all of those things. Wow.
Yeah, they and the drivers, it's a tremendous team altogether, so.
That's why we live here. That's why we like it here. Okay, moving on to section 13, any board comments or discussion tonight? Nothing. 14, future agenda items, anybody? Okay. Section 15, it should be noted the Board of Education members receive their agendas several days prior to the actual meeting, thus they have had considerable opportunity to study, ask questions, and so on. Upcoming regular meetings, all meetings will take place at 6 o'clock in the Monterey Media Center, PDR room, Tuesday, February 17th, Monday, March 2nd, it's a work session, and Wednesday, March 16th, which is another regular meeting. So we'll have Students of the Month on the 17th, I assume.
The 17th of, February is a Tuesday. We moved off to the Monday because of President's Day, and then we will also have Students of the Month on the 16th
Okay,
of March.
all right, very good. Informational items, it should be noted, Board of Education members receive their agendas several days prior to the actual meeting, and, it's not quite as many days now because we're earlier in the week, but that's still enough time to have the opportunity to study and ask questions and so on. Oops, I listed those two backwards, didn't I? At this point, I will move the board adjourn to executive session pursuant to ORC Section 121-22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. May I have a second for that motion, please? Second. Okay. Second from Mr. Rossi. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Souchaki?
Aye.
Mr. Rossi?
Aye.
Mrs. Deca?
Aye.
Ms. Pajeska?
Motion passes 4-0. It is 6:42, and we are adjourning to executive session. No action will be taken after we resume.